Hi. Now for something completely different. The council housing that you said you can now build. I don't know how many people are on the council housing waiting list. I would guess 20 hasn't made much of a dent in it. Are there plans, are you only going to build on council-owned sites because that makes it cheaper if you haven't got to buy the land? Are there plans to get the developers to kind of scatter some of these council houses within the developments? Or what is the plan for council housing?
Okay. Well, we probably need to use the slightly wider term of affordable housing and how that breaks down. And council housing is part of that. And that's really when you're talking about the different levels of rent that are payable. So in terms of what the government defines as affordable housing, the most expensive, in inverted commas, affordable housing is a 20% discount on market rent. So that's when you start talking about affordable. All of the schemes which are going through the planning process or which are part of this local plan, the affordable housing element of those greenfield sites is 40%. So we would expect to see 40% of those sites of some flavour of affordable housing. And the argument, the big argument that the housing department will then have with the developers is what's the split? What's the split of social rent, council housing, and the 20% discount one or any other whatever government scheme is the flavour of the day at the time. Shared equity housing is another one. That's where people buy, say you would buy a house, you get a foot on the ladder, 20% of the house is on a mortgage, 80% of it is on affordable rent, maybe with a housing association, and then as people's circumstances improve, they buy steadily more and more into that until they've got it on a conventional 100% mortgage. So there are different flavours of affordable housing, some of which, to be honest, are more affordable than others. And our favourite is council housing, that's social rent, where the rent, as I described, rent of 400 and a bit a month is certainly, that's the right side of where we want to be, rather than £1,000 a month for a 3-bed property or something. So those are the debates and arguments that go on with the developers to make sure that what's called the tenure split between social rent and affordable rent is as far towards the social as possible. So you've got the council's own sites, which I fully accept, they're going to deliver over a few years hundreds, not thousands. And yes, our waiting lists and our families that need homes, they're much, much higher than 100 or so. But the ones that we can get into those at the lowest possible rents, it really is absolutely life-changing for those families that we can then get into them at that sort of rent level. You'll generally be on housing benefit as well, so we're probably not even paying anything like that much to get in there. But it's a huge struggle. Fareham has one of the highest levels of owner occupation in this country. I think there's only about one other town with a higher level. So of course that's good news for all those of us that own our own homes, and very bad news for all those that can't even get a private rent because there's none to be had. So that's the other side of the coin. That's why we're struggling so much to try and get rents at the most affordable levels we can.
Do you have offhand how many people are on the housing?
It varies all the time because it's not really a conventional sort of waiting list anymore, because it's not like a queue where the houses go out and you get to the front and you get your house. It's all done in terms of priority bands. A family could present today, tomorrow at the civic offices, homeless, 3 kids, husband, wife. They may well get housed in a week's time, and there will be people that might have been waiting 10 years or 15 years who wouldn't meet that priority. So it's, we could all join the housing waiting list, in inverted commas, but some of us would never ever get a property. So it's almost a false thing to talk about, but 1,300 families, something like that. And then you've got other sorts of waiting lists as well, which have many more hundreds of people on them. So, we get interest from literally thousands of families in the borough that want housing, want better housing. It's so difficult. We've just done 18, where we did half a dozen a year or so ago, we did half a dozen before that. as you can see from those 4 sites, maybe we can squeeze a couple of hundred onto it. But we don't stop to keep looking for more.